Friends, may the 4th be with you. Well, so I've been doing something lately with 4chan, just for curiosity and more clarity on what it is that I'm consuming over there. I take all the text of the page and I throw it into Grok and I say, give me the top 50 words or give me a summary. And so I just did that, and it's pretty nice, actually. So we're going to read these headlines. Based on 4chan poll threads provided, here are the top 50 topics discussed, reflecting the range of political, social, and cultural issues prevalent on the board as of May 4th, 2025. Also, I was in their advertising section. They do 500 million page views a month, which is very significant. The first is global political and elections. Discussion on elections like Australia election result, Labour victory, and the Romanian election with concerns about rigging and cancellations. Next is U.S. political climate, focus on Donald Trump, his policies, e.g. tariff, ending birthright citizenship, and controversial, e.g. Pope joke, EPA discussions on leaded gasoline, and asbestos. We haven't had leaded gasoline. Maybe they're trying to bring it back. Racial tensions, threads on radical dynamics, including white-black conflicts, e.g. Shillong incident, Indian hate, and reverse colonialization debates. This is why I do this, because I just heard a word I've never heard before, or two words together, reverse colonialization debate. That's interesting. So by having Grok summarize this for me, it's creating more clarity to what I'm consuming. Immigration and citizenship, debates on birthright citizenship, Latino population growth, and Romania's removal from the U.S. visa waiver program. See? I mean, like, literally, I'm getting a summary of every poll thread. This is actually makes my news a little bit more interesting, to me at least. I also like this Latino population growth. From a marketing standpoint and making money, it's, we can sell to the Latino community a lot more. So maybe ads in Spanish and start celebrating the Latino community. Israel and Middle East conflicts. The Houthi attacks on Ben Gurion Airport, U.S. military involvement, and the proposed Israel anti-boycott act with its controversial penalties. Yeah, the proposed anti-Israel act, they're trying to cherry pick free speech and pass a law that you can't criticize Israel. Well, we wouldn't want to criticize them if they were doing everything right. People who get criticized is because they're doing something illegal. If anybody takes away our free speech, it's going to be Donald Trump. I want to rant about politics right now. Let me highlight this. We're stopped at number 5. We've got 45 more to go. So I want to talk about politics. If you don't know this, I ran for president 3 terms. And I'm thinking about running for governor. I'm also thinking about not running for governor. Why? Well, I'm understanding a lot more about how America works. And America isn't the fair system that we think it is. America it's like a rigged casino. And you can't win against a rigged casino. And I'm age 56. And some discussions over the past month, I think it's time for me just to hunker down and make some money. I've got some extraordinary ideas that I really want to develop and bring to life. There's one I can't tell you about, but it's so good. It's so good. It's just unbelievable. I mean, it's beyond the anti-gravity. Anti-gravity is pretty amazing. Well, this isn't better than anti-gravity, but it's got a fun factor to it. So my projects are the anti-gravity, a drone. I'm going to maybe build my own drone. Not maybe, I have to. I was looking at 3D printers. There's one company called Bamboo Lab. And they've got a $1,400 printer. Apparently, that's really awesome. People really love it. If you've ever played with 3D printing, the early days, like 10 years ago or 5 years ago, not everything went as planned. And for example, something I never would have considered was the air temperature. When I was in Guerneville and it was cold, my I guess somebody I was sharing the property with, Patrick, he was British, pretty cool guy. I love Patrick. He was great. He would start a printing thing, but it was so cold and it wasn't sticking to the base plate, and he just had problems. So you need to control the environment that the printing head is working in. And the printing head is the nozzle where the plastic wire goes into it. It heats it, then it makes sure whatever amount is dispensed. And also, 3D printers are really inexpensive on the used market because somebody is either given up on it or they bought a better machine. Just saying. Like, I don't need a super badass machine. I want to build my, patent number 2,912,244, which is the unlimited electricity device. So I need to 3D print most of those parts. Yeah, and for the drone, I need to print a bunch of pieces for the drone. I also want to get into like lost wax casting. There's where you sculpt something in wax, and then you dip it in plaster Paris, and then you melt out the wax, and then fill the void with metal, like aluminum. By the way, aluminum is really easy to melt, and you get some crucibles, and you get some like a thick insulation and a propane torch, and you can make a big ass furnace. I also want to build my shaker table for gold. I'm going to buy a 5/8 of an inch thick. 5/8. Yeah, that's more. 4/8 is ½ inch, so it's a little bit more. I don't know if I need 5/8. Maybe it's ½ inch. It's like cutting block material for when you're cutting veggies on a piece of plastic. That kind of white stuff you use. I forget the name of it, but it's a special kind of plastic. 2 foot by 4 foot section would cost me like $150. I even got out my router last Sunday. I just want to show you how fucking huge. This is a 9/16 shank, but they call it half inch because then it squeezes it. But I need to have like a 3/16 tip. This has got a ball bearing. This is for like trimming Formica or something. Yeah. Oh, my new neighbor in the move, he gave me a chop saw. He gave me a few things. He had a chop saw that he didn't want anymore. It's like a Harbor Freight one, but I'm super happy with the chop saw. He gave me a steel door, like a front door, but made of steel, and which is what I wanted. Not this way, it would be harder to break into my place. And I'm going to buy a steel frame for it, so it'll be nearly impossible to penetrate that by kicking. I also thought about putting some spikes on my door. So if you tried to shoulder your way into it, you'd get a spike in the arm. Put some, some big ass pointy spikes on my front door so you can't be shouldering it or kicking it with your feet. And just because I live in the middle of nowhere, and if I ever go away for 2 or 3 days and some tweakers are trying to steal my fucking used DVD collection, like, tweakers are dumb, so they'll steal anything. You know, the funniest thing that tweakers do is try to open a safe that's empty. Like, I mean, you're not going to know it's empty because they're too heavy to shake, but it's funny watching them go through all those motions, like cutting the door, all that stuff, and then they open and they're like, nothing in there. I find that funny. Looking at a drawing. This was going to be my this is my building here. I'm going to build like maybe another thing on the roof. That's on pause right now. I really just don't want to spend the money. But actually, a situation's coming up today. We had a 56% chance of rain. I'm like, fuck, because my plastic on the roof is now torn up. I need to just buy a $40 piece of plastic and put it up for the 2 days it's going to rain, then take it down and just keep swapping it. For $40, I can have a rainproof. Well, it's a pain in the ass to get up there and put it down, but it gets the job done. Oh, well, I'm also having the realization that okay, we're back. That was my other neighbor. His surveillance wasn't working. He thought the power was out. You know, let me just go put some eyes. Let me put my eyeballs on my stuff over there. I'm gonna be back in like 1 minute. I gotta use my binoculars. I'll be right back. All right. Let me just send him a quick text message. All right. We're back. Lots of happenings around here. Oh, my new friend David, he's actually quite an accomplished sculptor and also a really talented muralist. I'm looking for a pen. Where's a pen? Oh, there's a pencil. 2 pencils. I want to keep track of all these ideas I'm throwing at you. Drone, 3D printer, gravity, shaker table. Uh, 3D. Well, the printer was lost wax casting. My ADHD. I've been taking some. I take this stuff called Stratara, and they've been giving it to me for 3 years, but it never really works. Well, we upped the dosage. Now it's working. Like really, I mean, I'm getting a lot more done, surprisingly. David and I had lots of parallel thoughts, and I really enjoyed my time with him. Helping anybody move. Well, I call it, it's the gift that they can't give themselves. He doesn't have a truck or a trailer. Well, his truck's broken right now. And so I've done 2 trips to LA for him. I brought his truck back on my trailer, and then we just brought back a bunch of odds and ends. And he's pretty happy about that. We had a situation. Well, I was very anxious. I just want to make sure my truck doesn't break down or the trailer doesn't break down, and I'm 200 miles away from home, because that can turn into a $2,000 bill real quick. Or have an accident, jackknife, who knows? Like trailers it's dangerous stuff. But I got it done all successfully, and on the way home, we were about 100 miles away. I pulled into a gas station because my back tires were kind of squishy. And when you increase the load on your vehicle, they have like maximum gross vehicle weight. And it goes from 35 PSI to 45 PSI. And they were at 30. And I had my little Ryobi pump. It's a handheld device. It doesn't really go past 35 PSI. It's too much work for it. It's enough just to save your ass, but not enough. Anyways, so we kept we were leaving Los Angeles on Sepulveda Boulevard, and he lived in a fancy neighborhood, but then it turns into a ghetto. And I'm like, fuck if I'm getting out, going to a ghetto gas station trying to get air. Plus, I got to drive in and out, no backing up with the trailer. So finding an air pump where you could slide in and out without backing in was nearly impossible. A lot of air pumps are over in the corner. So anyways, we found one at the Shell station. As I cut the turn, I cut it too close, and my fender on the trailer hit one of those concrete posts, and it bent my fender. But it bent the fender so bad, it was jabbing the tire. So when I backed up, I tore off a lot of rubber from the tire, and he's like, stop. And I went about 2 feet. If he wasn't there, I would not have looked, and I probably would have popped my tire. and I couldn't pull the metal out. It was just wedged. And also, even though the metal's flexible, it was on a piece of angle iron, so it was very rigid. And I was like, anyways, I said, get the jack, let's move fast. We got to take the tire off and we'll bend it. And like literally within under 10 minutes, I had this thing fixed. He was like, damn. It was pretty impressive, Wayne. Because we were beating it, trying to bend it out of shape. And then he's jumping around like a tweaker. I'm like, dude, just stand here and quit talking. You're making the gas station people nervous, because we're like 2 a.m. He's jumping around like a Mexican jumping bean, and he dresses like a hobo. And I'm like, this is why people give you shit, because you're looking sketchy. You might not be doing meth, but you look like you're doing meth. It's all about image. Like, you need to consider laying low. And I'm like, quit moving, quit dancing around and talking your head off. Just stand here and be quiet. Act the part. We got to get through this. We don't want them calling the cops. Anyways, we got through it. But he was bouncing around and he could talk it. And, poor guy's a vegan and he's not eating as well as he should. But we had a really fun time. Yeah, 3D printer sounds like something. Well, it sounds fun and technical, but I haven't used my damn oscilloscope. And that's fun and technical. So I just got to throttle my ADHD, and I think it's all my productivity is going to start with me cleaning my place. It kind of looks like somebody's living room on Christmas morning when you have kids and there's paper everywhere and there's boxes everywhere. It's not dirty. It's just disheveled. So what is that noise? Let me go. I think I got to check something. Be back. There's a bird going beep, beep, beep. I thought it was my inverter. If you ever live your life on batteries and an inverter because of solar, when you're running out of electricity, it'll beep for a while before it crashes. Turned out just to be a critter. All right, we got drone, 3D printer, gravity, shaker table. Arduino. I gotta make myself much more familiar with Arduino. And Arduino is basically something called a microcontroller, and it's a miniaturized computer with these expansions where you can add you can add hundreds and hundreds of things. People make pre-designed boards that you add to it. I bought one. It's too complicated. I bought one for an electrically controlled heliostat where it's a mirror with the sun and it's always shining the light at one place. So it has an X and Y axis for motors, and then you put servos, and anyways, all that complicated stuff comes on a board that you attach to the Arduino, and it makes it all happen. It's a computer miniaturized. Then you program it with Python. It's kind of complicated, but it's been around for 15 years or 20 years now, so you can get a lot of stuff done. Last night I had the idea, I want to make a water bowl for my lizards that are outside, just regular lizards. Some are 3 inches and some are 20 inches. I got some iguanas. But I'd like to make a motion sensitive camera at the water dish. And then I can just do one of those gravity water things where it just fills up when the bowl is lower. Yeah. But it doesn't need to be, I want to make the bowl only about this big. This way there's less to evaporate and the water will be there longer. And I want to take pictures of lizards. It'd be kind of fun to have it post to Twitter automatically. I drank yesterday. I was hungover. I'm not really hungover right now. But the days after I drank, I'm a little manic. It's kind of fun. Like I just surf all these ideas that I get. So I was kind of talking about politics. Like I'm having more fun with my ideas than politics. So I most likely will leave politics. David was going to be my vice president until I remembered, oh, you're not born in America. He was born in Colombia. So he can't be president. He's not a natural born citizen. He and I would have had fun running for president. Yeah, if I had a vice president, I would consider doing it again, especially early because we'd have 3.5 years to really start a new political party and try to make a difference. But the other part I've realized is they don't want to change it. Whoever this elite power structure is that's not elected, who controls things, they don't want to change anything. They want everything to be status quo. And you know that guy, Bustamante, Everyday Spy? He's got that big thing of hair. He's got huge hair. He was talking to somebody on a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about slavery and war. And they said, well, the thing with slavery is that those people were taken against their will and forced to be slaves. And in today's world, you're born into slavery. You don't have a choice. You're born into the system where they force you to work or you're just homeless. So slavery is still a real thing. And then war is still a component of nations. We have intrastate wars and outer state wars. So an intrastate war is like Syria, where it's a civil war against their own leader, Assad. And Assad won. So dictators can still win, is what they were saying. And or extra-state wars, I'm getting this term incorrect, but where you have 2 states warring with each other. And if 2 states are going to go to war with each other, there has to be a reward. Now, and it comes down to resources. Somebody wants somebody else's resources, so to say. And then they were talking about something that I had talked about, which is the computer chip manufacturing of Taiwan, the photolithography, the integrated circuits. And they're doing 95% of the world's chip manufacturing right now. And then China, mainland China, is starting to do chip fabrication. Maybe they've been doing it for 10 years, but they're ramping up and they're getting better. And I think they got it down to 2 nanometers, which is very difficult. Most stuff is 5 nanometer or 7 nanometer. And if you control the chips, you control the world. So Biden made a $51 billion bonus to bring chip manufacturing plants to America. So Taiwan Semiconductor built a plant in Arizona, and it took them like 2 years. And Intel is making another plant somewhere in America, maybe Ohio. And so the moment those babies come online and are producing, now this is my own theory, but I think we, America, are going to false flag Taiwan and blame China for blowing up the chip fabrication plants in Taiwan. But we're going to sabotage the chip plants, blow them up, so China doesn't have access to all these chips. So we're going to sabotage China's economy and start a war with China. Also, China's made a really large naval fleet. They've been producing, we're talking maybe 500 types of ships. There's all kinds of battleships and support ships and aircraft carriers. But it looks like China is now trying to protect its dominance of global manufacturing. And now we're going to go conspiratorial and really weird stuff, okay? The moon. So I'm under the impression, and I do believe, that there are extraterrestrials on the moon. I think the moon is a spaceship. It's not solid, and they have remote viewed the moon, and they've seen some people that look like us, and they've seen naked people working as slaves. Hundreds of thousands of them on the moon. And also the moon is, this just gets more weird, but is a soul catcher. When we die, our soul goes to the moon and gets recycled. So the people on the moon are dictators. And so there's a theory that the moon people have made an alliance with a nation on Earth that's heavy-handed, authoritative, and that's China. So China is treating people the way the moon people would want to treat people, as slaves. So the moon people might be helping China become the dominant force in the world. And maybe America is being subverted by, maybe we're being slowly destroyed on purpose, so it gives China an edge. Like, remember all this Second Amendment de-arming, school shootings and those things? Well, why? Who benefits from America being de-armed? The answer is our enemies. Like, if we're not armed to the teeth, somebody could invade America and take over our natural resources. So it'd be a lot easier for China to invade or Russia to invade if we weren't armed to the teeth. We're still armed to the teeth. There's 9 weapons per citizen, which is the most in the world. Yeah, so just to summarize, there's some evil motherfuckers on the moon who want to dominate humans as a slave race, and they could be supporting China in a bid against democracy-loving citizens. I know that's wacky. You just have to dig this deep on the moon, and your mind's going to start getting blown. Yeah, keep your eye on Taiwan. Also, if there's a way for you to invest in chip manufacturing in America, try to do it. The problem with investing in Taiwan Semiconductor is right now the majority of their chips are coming out of Taiwan. So if we blow it to smithereens, that would make me think their stock's going to crash until they ramp up production in America. Intel might be pulling out of Taiwan. I don't know the answer. Lithium battery production. Apparently the Salton Sea by me here in Southern California, there's a massive amount of lithium they have found. We're talking, it could be the world's largest supply. So I guess if there's a way to invest in somebody who makes lithium batteries, if you can find out which lithium battery company is trying to manufacture in Southern California at Salton Sea, that's going to be a big financial win. Oh, I didn't even look at the comments. Hey, Rick. Now, TikTok is... I only had TikTok on my phone for one day, like 2 years ago. I was like, no, get that shit out of here. I also suspected it was spyware. Hey, Diabolical. Oh, we got to put some electricity on this here. Glad I noticed. Hold on. Oh, I told David about the jet boats. He's like, "Yeah, I love jet boats. Let's flip those." Yeah, it is a stream chat format. Well, I'm relying on my admins to babysit the idiots over at Facebook. I'm sorry, YouTube. I think I've blocked the majority of the trolls. David's a really hard worker, and he works in the heat. And he says the temperature doesn't bother him, but he's been in Los Angeles. He doesn't. 120 degrees is a lot different out here. I mean, he did work out here when he was working on the this movie, Tatana or something. Christopher Nolan movie 3 or 4 years ago. He was working for the studio. Sometimes he goes away for months on a movie. He works the movie set. Like he built the cave for Batman. And a lot of things are made out of foam and lumber. And, it's all, he's doing construction and sculpting. That's kind of interesting. But I told him about the jet boats. He's like, yeah. And he's got friends. He knows people who might want to buy jet boats because he's got a lot of wealthy friends in the movie business. So that's fun. Okay, now I want to talk about the 4chan software called VicChan. And I've shared the links to it on my Twitter, where you can download it at GitHub. It's so funny because I got an older version running on my How to Get Rich, and I had the new version running on some website I haven't told you about. And then I made some conflicts and it stopped working. I had to reload it, and I'm really enjoying it. I might have to pay somebody to build extensibility to... I want to make a paywall or a pass so you don't have to do CAPTCHA. And I'm considering running my own political chan. I might even use it for a food site where people are just talking about food. I'll need some moderators for that stuff if anybody's interested. That's low on the totem pole. Engineering projects are bringing me the most joy right now. Oh, I got my this is a crimper for electricals. You put your electrical thing in there. Like that. And then you hit it with a hammer. I also got a crimper that looks like bolt cutters. I guess I can show you. Oh, these are cool. I was supposed to have a delivery on Friday. I wonder if it came. I went and looked this morning. There wasn't anything out there. Oh, it came with some shrink tubing with colored black and red. So these are the electrical eyelets for my system. Just 10 of these cost like $7. All right, that's cool. And then these are security Torx. If you know what a Torx looks like, sometimes you'll see a little nipple in the middle, which won't make your normal Torx work. I don't know if you can see it. There's a hole in the middle here. Anyways, I need these for something. Good root beer. Good morning. I got a battery for my laptop. I got the USB-C charging port for the laptop. Just some electrical cables and some more cameras. Damn. Well. No thing. I mean, I've got dinner. If you want to donate money, my Cash App is Lambright 2024. Oh. Yeah, this is a computer shirt. Isn't that cool? You can get it on TEMU for like $5. Let's see if Amazon delivered my stuff. I hope they didn't. No, it's going to make my stream slow. Oh, so, you know, let's see if there's any more. Let's see here. I was reading the news. We have 50 of them. Oh, that's very generous of you, dude. Thank you. All right, so what I summarized all of the 4chan page at Politically Incorrect. I just threw it in the grok and I said, summarize this for me. And we left off at Ukraine, Middle East conflict. Now Ukraine-Russian war. Updates on the conflict, including North Korean troops in Kursk, drone warfare, U.S.-Ukraine mineral deal, and ceasefire discussions around Victory Day. Next is called social and cultural issues. Topics like Generation Z rejecting alcohol, male loneliness, fertility crisis, especially among Asians, and societal shifting, e.g., Latinos appropriating white culture. Nice. Anti-Semitism and conspiracy theories. Discussions on Jewish influence, e.g., in the Soviet Union, media, Freemasonry, and historical revisionism, e.g., U.S. role in the Holocaust. Violence and crime. Threads on violent incidences, e.g., human gang rapes, U.S. cops killing, teacher raping a special needs student, and fantasies of violence, e.g., bomb making. Economic challenges. Job scarcity, e.g., there are no jobs threads. Rent is theft, tariffs impact on all, and fears of global blackouts affecting economies. Technology and surveillance drones in warfare. Let me talk about the blackouts. No, I'm not going to talk about that. But I just want to say the electrical system is at risk. And they warned, so if we have a solar flare that is large, as something called the Carrington event that happened in 1850, we have a 24-hour notice before it happens as scientists to shut down the electrical grid, and then wait about 10 hours and it's over. And then we can power it back up. But in some developing nations, if they don't shut down their power grid, it could overload and they could hurt their transformers. Some transformers can be starting at 100,000. They can be $1 million. And if they blow it up, it's going to take 6 months to get another one. You can't go to Home Depot and get a big ass transformer the size of a Volkswagen bus. And so if we do have a solar flare, which is something we humans cannot control, we can just prepare for it. And the reason what happens is when you have electrical wires in the air and a big magnetic field pulse happens at it, they induce electricity. And so that whole electrical line becomes charged, and they're actually overcharged than they're currently charged with. So it's overloaded, and it can damage equipment. Thanks, Root Beer. I can't say I know about that Jewish practice. Let me Google it real quick. I'm a new Jew. I've only been a Jew for 3 years and 3 months. But let me grok it for you. What is practice? Are you a Jew? Root Beer? Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh. So you're trolling me, I see. Well, what he wanted me to talk about was a process that you see written here. And it's when they do circumcision and then they suck the blood. They actually put the baby's penis in their mouth and they suck on it like a lollipop to get the adrenalated blood from the child. So they're doing androchrome. It's It's really weird. It's, well, first of all, circumcision is torture. Imagine cutting off some of your flesh right now and just peeling it away with no anesthesia. And we should outlaw male circumcision on babies and wait for the person to be of adult age and let them make their choice. Circumcision is totally barbaric. And of course, women don't see a problem with it because it's not them. All right, let's go back to the news here. Violence and crime, threads on violent incidences, Indian gang rapes, U.S. cop killing, teacher raping a special needs student, and fantasies of violence, bomb making. Economic challenges, job scarcity, there are no jobs. I know we're repeating here, by the way. Rent as theft, tariffs impact, and fears of global blackouts affecting economies. All right. Technology and surveillance, drones in warfare, AI in government, e.g. replacing bureaucrats, privacy concerns, e.g. lead pipes, GMO weed, and conspiracy theories, e.g. mRNA as nanotechnology. mRNA is not, it is nano because it's DNA splicing is what it is. We're splicing in other DNA, but I wouldn't really call that nanotechnology. I would call that gene therapy. And AI in governance, replacing bureaucrats. Well, that's something I talked about in my campaign promises, that we would use AI to streamline the government, and we would put new bills through the AI to make sure that the bill itself was as good as it should be before it gets approved. Pretty much, well, this is conspiracy. There's a guy with the Philadelphia experiment. His name is Alec Beal. And in 1940 something, when they made the Philadelphia experiment, which is technically called Project Rainbow, the ship disappeared from the dock. And this guy ended up, while it was disappeared, he jumped off the ship thinking he was jumping into the water, but he actually was like in a time tunnel, and he lost connection with the ship. And he ended up in the year 2300. And he said in the future, in the world 2300, we have floating sky, we have floating cities, and there's a synthetic intelligence that is the government, and everybody's got a job, and there is no money. And if you misbehave, you end up disappearing. So they just kill you. So these are some of the concerns we should have about AI. And also, we can be concerned as much as we want. AI is coming. There's no stopping this. Our government is not of the people and by the people. Our government is for dictators, by dictators. Our government is being a total dictator. Oh no, I closed the window here. What the hell? What have I done? Yeah, you're born Jewish, but you're learning about it like me. Right on, dude. There's actually some really good things about being a Jew. And I think these old traditions are actually basically written suggestions from God. like an extraterrestrial who put us here at some point. I don't think Jews are the original people on Earth. I think the Earth is a sandbox, and people from other galaxies use it as a laboratory. Like there could be black people in the universe. Like there could be a whole planet of advanced black people flying around in spaceships, and they're like, hey, let's put some brothers and sisters on Earth and see how they interact. We know how that story ended. I tweeted last night, wouldn't it be funny if black people were on another planet and they all lived in peace? All right. Gender and sexuality. Debates on homosexuality, trans issues, e.g. Mancy, Ringington's arrest, trans bathroom bills, and gynocentrism on social impact. Not interested. We're going to just do this for a few more minutes, and then I might have a spot of rain today, so I got to go out and protect some things. What else? Well, I'll just read the headline and not the subtext. Religious dynamics, government overreach and free speech, societal collapse and isolation, historical reflections, political extremism and nationalism, infrastructure and public safety, populist movements and figures, geopolitical tensions and alliances. All right, I'll try to summarize some of the stuff I talked about. For my own projects, I talked about a drone I'm wanting to build, a 3D printer, and also exploring lost wax casting with the 3D printer. Some of the filaments can be, with heat, they act like wax. I talked about my anti-gravity a little bit. I'm building a shaker table and Arduino. Yeah. Also, I talked about maybe not running for governor. I mean, there's two things running for politics for me. One is having fun. I want to make sure I have fun. I ran for president on lazy mode because it doesn't matter if I worked super hard. They're still going to repress me. So either I'm going to get lit by the mainstream media or I'm not. Like, look how hard RFK Jr. worked running for president, and he got nowhere. And he's married to a movie star, and he's rich. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. It matters kind of the connections and how much you've sold your soul. Oh, I talked about my room. I didn't finish this. My roommate, not my roommate, my neighbor gave me a chop saw, a metal door, a front door, and a window. I got a 2 foot by 2 foot double pane window with no frame, so I'll have to, easily build a frame for it. And I'm gonna make a window that opens on some hinges. And then I'm also going to build some storm shutters that can be shut when I'm gone, so nobody's trying to break my window, kind of thing. And also, I'm going to start focusing on making some money. I think having a neighbor who also needs to earn some money, like he and I will do a show together, a broadcast, so maybe we can start earning money that way. We'll give it a try. Yeah. He also loves Craigslist free section like I do. He knows the power of the free section. So that's great. His transmission, the fluid is really burnt, and he might have, his transmission might be kaput. And I told him, well, we might want to consider rebuilding your transmission. It's really just about cleanliness and just assembling, just remembering where everything goes. So we might live stream rebuilding his transmission. And what that involves is you get a parts washer, compressed air, and a big ass table, a bench with a bunch of beach towels, and you lay it all out, and then you have a little bucket of fluid, like transmission fluid, and you dip everything and you put it together, make sure everything's correct. There's little O-rings that go here and there, and we got to get the torque specs for all the things we bolt back together, torque it all down. We'll need to get maybe like a manual, find a manual from the manufacturer about remanufacturing. Like, you can buy a rebuild kit for like $200. So for $200, you can fix your $5,000 transmission. And the only thing that wears out on transmissions are these things called clutch discs, and they kind of look like brake pads. And yeah, he was hauling a load of bricks, so he overloaded his transmission. It might have failed on him. All right, I'm done. We made it to an hour and 2 minutes. Have a wonderful Sunday. I'll see you friends tomorrow. Bye-bye.